Hey, how's it going? We're here for part 2 of our You Ask the Questions. We have quite a bit of questions from that first one. But I want to encourage y'all too to drop us some more questions either in the comments here on the members page or, probably in the comments. It's probably the easiest way to keep up with these. You got to be able to find them. I'm going to put these questions all over. I'm texting me stuff. I'll lose all that, man. Yeah. All right. So Matt's got a couple questions for us. Thanks for last week. If y'all like these, love these, or want something different about them, let us know. Talk to us either in the gym or in the comments here. All right. Thanks.
All right. So the first question comes from Caitlin. It says, "Why are burpees a thing?"
Oh yes. So in the 1920s, the U.S. Army did some studies. So they found that the piriformis, I believe it was, and the psoas were deeply undertrained in many people. So they created this movement to really help the functionality of both those muscles and grouping them together to help basically make these guys a little bit more bulletproof, right? Y'all see that smirk on his face? That's because I'm BSing this whole thing. The movement only gets your heart rate up. That's what it's for, Caitlin. So do it with a smile. How about that?
All right, that's it. Next question comes from Andy P.
That was BS.
Have you ever vomited during a workout and kept going? So I would say for me, no. I don't think I've ever vomited during a workout. I have a tendency more to get just real lightheaded if I kind of go that route, the point no return. But it's not usually in the form of throwing up for me. So
yeah, I don't think I've ever thrown up. I don't throw up easily at all. Like I think I can remember like 4 times I've thrown up in my life. So for me, like every muscle group would just like give out first. So I was like cramping up everywhere, just physically just can't move anymore, and slowly wait for somebody to drag me home.
All right, and the next question from Adalia says, "What's some different ways to recover after a workout?"
You want to take this one?
Sure. Yeah, there's really not a bunch of different ways to recover after a workout. There's kind of 3 main things you need, and that's food, sleep, and water. So if you're not getting enough sleep, your recovery is going to be terrible. If you're not eating enough or the right foods, kind of eating a little bit of carbs after workouts, those kind of things will kind of help. But I mean, ultimately, there's some coaches that have kind of a saying, there's no such thing as overtraining, just undereating. And so it's kind of, that always goes back to that, right? These basics, I know they're not flashy, not fancy. It's not some pill you can take or drink you can drink, but those are the things that actually truly lead to kind of recovery. As you get in better shape, recovery time will go down.
And like you were saying earlier too, like people that really run into recovery issues, the reason recovery becomes such a big thing is because you're trying to make sure you don't get into the state of overeating or overtraining, sorry. But unless most of the people here work out 3 to 5 times a week. 1 hour of the day, 3 to 5 times a week. Those aren't numbers that are going to get you to an overtrained state where you really have to think, man, my recovery is just, it's not optimal enough. And maybe if you're on a real low calorie diet or something like that, but you're not pushing that area. So eat, like you said, eat, sleep, be relaxed every once in a while. Now, if you are trying to up your activity and things like that, so you're doing a little jog in the morning, something midday, and then you're coming up here and trying to crush it at night, then you can start thinking about it. Because now a bigger chunk of your day has been working out, moving around a lot more than your previous norm. So you just got to fuel that activity. And the way people end up in that state is because they haven't fueled that activity.
Yeah, I was talking to actually Tina this week. And you got to expect, look, if you're going for weight loss, your performance is going to suffer. Yeah. There's no question about it. The 2 goals are at odds, right? I'm under-eating to try to lose weight, but I'm trying to perform at the same level. I can't perform at the same level while I'm under-eating. Yeah. So you got to realize that the performance is going to take a downswing while you're trying to lose weight.
Might be a little bit slower, not
but it'll pick back up.
Workout, but you'll get it to a new norm,
Yeah.
And then you pick it back up.
So the next question, collagen protein. Heather is asking about it. So what is it? What's the benefits? Why should somebody take it, or should they even take it?
Yeah, I'd like to. I put a little bit, like either into a smoothie. Sometimes I drop I use that Great Lakes. I'll drop it into some coffee sometimes. I'll drop it in with a little bit of oatmeal sometimes. Collagen is the protein that makes up your connective tissues. So, the idea there is your good body's going to break it down and then have the tools to build your connective tissues again. So, it's not like, should I use this versus whey or this versus hemp or pea or anything. It's kind of like an additive, just like with your food. You don't eat one type of one thing all the time. You get multiple things because it just does something different for your body. So, like I said, I don't do it in place of, because I don't do a lot of like wheys and stuff like that. But I don't do it in place of. I do it with. So like I said, that'll have a little bit of in the morning. And then I usually do essential aminos later on in the day. But yeah, do it with it. Add it to it because it's not one that you'll otherwise usually take in unless you're doing a lot of things like whole like meat, like the whole chicken and you're slow cooking it and then you extract some of the collagens out of that. But I mean, most people just buy a chicken breast and you grill it and that's it. So your proteins and stuff are going to be a lot more limited.
Yeah.
So
this is actually where the whole thing with people tend to drink bone broth when you're sick. Like now, if you're getting bone broth out of a can, it's pointless. But this was one of the big benefits of drinking it back in the day because bone broth was actually made from. They would soak the bones or boil the bones and stuff like that, so all the marrow and all that collagen would get released. Yeah, so it was full of collagen protein, which would help to actually help make you feel better. But like I said, now broth for the most part is just.
It's usually stock actually. It's
not
even broth. Like you go to the store, it says broth. It's just a stock. They just soak the meat. That's what a stock is.
So you're not getting those benefits.
Yeah.
But that's why. So collagen protein is definitely helpful, and it's definitely something I think now is lacking in our diets just because we don't tend to eat those things. We don't tend to eat the full animal like people used to. All right. So
there was another one too.
What?
George had a question.
Yeah, we got Emily's question too.
Oh, Emily.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
that one's it's like a 10-parter, y'all. Be ready. All right. So I've heard a few holistic practitioners said to stay away from fruits that aren't grown here or native to our land, such as bananas, mangoes, etc., and to focus more on berries like blueberries, blackberries, raspberries when you eat fruit. What are your thoughts on this, and what is a good or necessary amount of fruit to eat per day without eating too much sugar? We limit fruit anyway because of sugar intake for myself and the kids. So let's answer that question.
Okay.
So what are your thoughts on native versus local and how much fruit? Native versus local. We'll start with that.
The reason you go local is because so the areas that tend to grow more of fruits, which are going to be areas closer to the equator, due to their sun exposure, the amount that they can be out and active and everything else, it's greater. So those people can generally afford much more, and they have it's like the epigenetic thing where those people are native to those areas that have lived there for a long time, generations, tend to tolerate that a little bit better versus people who don't. They live in Vermont or wherever white people go.
Minnesota.
And yeah, exactly. And so the reason you stay native to that, the foods that are more local is, a couple reasons, but one, too, it's going to help you to limit that. There's a time when the time that which those grow are the times that you tend to use them better, which are in the summer, right? All your blackberries are out in the backyard right now. Go pick them, eat them. They're great. They'll give you a little bit of some good sugars and some good nutrition in those, or the wild berries, your muscadine grapes. But then, come fall, things are going to be gone. And that's generally when your carbs start to wind back down in general. So just because you can import them from half a world away, doesn't necessarily mean you should. You might not need to be chain pounding bananas at that time. It's probably a better time to be low carb.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why it's kind of a good thing to just eat what's local.
Yeah, you always got to remember, fruit used to be seasonal. So it was never meant to be had all the time. Like I said, most times it's during the summer when it ripens, which people tend to be more active in the summer just naturally anyways, right? So it's not meant to be eaten all day. It's a necessary amount of fruit to eat per day. That's kind of hard to say. It's going to be pretty
honestly,
individual.
there's no recommended carb amount anyway. You don't need I have to have X amount of carbs, or especially fruit or whatever, because you're gonna get carbs from a variety of foods. You're not I have to eat 2 peaches, 1 banana, and half of an apple. It's you're gonna gauge that based off your activity. Your activity is gonna determine what your body can afford in terms of the carbs, and fruit is it's one source of carbs. It's a decent source. I'd say the more like wild even that you can get, the better, because a lot of them are bred for the sugar content now.
Yeah.
So the nutrition is down, the sugar content's up. Like I'm not trying to scare anybody away from it. Fruit's fruit. I mean, have a piece, and I just wouldn't overdo it ever. We even with white, we'll usually put like a couple, like I think like 3 strawberries and like 6 to 10 blueberries. He goes to town on it.
Yeah.
In a meal.
Yeah, me personally, I don't tend to eat a lot of fruit, but honestly, it's just a lot of laziness. Yeah. A lot of it requires a lot of work, like peeling and stuff like that. Who wants to do all that, Yeah. So don't tend to eat a ton of it, but all right. So second question for Emily is the last one. If someone is already eating the right meals and working out regularly, what is the next step you would recommend to really take the physique up to the next level, like more definition?
Oh man.
All right.
Define definition. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do for fat loss. I was telling Matt, I'm reading up on this protocol that I'll probably be trying soon. That involves high doses of niacin, infrared saunas, and cold thermogenesis. Do that. You can the way that bodybuilders do it. It's I don't think it's optimal. I don't think it's definitely not optimal for your health. But I mean, let's face it, they're great at their physique, right? You can't argue with that. They make their bodies do these things and get to that level and all that other stuff. So you could go that route if you're just really that, I guess it depends on like why. Why do you want what exactly do you want in terms of definition in this physique, and why? Do you want to be able to get on stage and flex, or is it just like, oh, I just want to look a little bit better? I don't think I'm quite there. If it's that, then there's a few other things you can do to lose, I guess, lean out. Still, some other ones are like timing the type of workout and the timing of those workouts, the types of meals that you'll do to recover or after those workouts and stuff. Therapeutic fasting at certain times. There's a lot, and I think it'd just be too much for this video to go into details on all that.
And I think the big thing you got to think is if you've already seen all these results, you got to think, is it worth it? Because getting that extra little bit might be a whole lot more work. So we all have kind of even there a different genetic potential to be lean, or how lean, or how much muscle we can see when we are lean. And so you got to think for you being that lean all the time, it might require a ton of extra work. And you might come to decide that extra work's really not worth the extra 2% body fat that you lose from doing it.
Yeah, and you learn too, a lot of even models and things like that, they don't live where they take the pictures. That was JJ Watt. Everybody saw that one where JJ Watt got down to the 6-pack and he took the pictures for it, and he actually talked about the struggle it took him to get there because he doesn't live right there. And I guarantee he doesn't live there during football season. Yeah. Because it's the same thing, like we said, your performance is going to suffer when you lean out that low. Those people aren't your greatest athletes. They're just looking good without a shirt for a little while. Yeah. And so most of them don't live there. So keep that in mind. You're looking at a picture, or if you're comparing yourself, I'd like to be more like that. That's that person at one point in time. It's Brad Pitt from Fight Club. Yeah. You can do it, but do you want to? Yeah. So I guess that's it for this week. Like I said, drop us some more questions. We're really enjoying this, and we are looking forward to having some guests come on pretty soon.
Be fun.
We'll be fine.
All right, guys.
Peace.
And gals.